Okay, so today we're gonna change the rear driver's side blinker bulb. We're gonna have to actually remove this assembly here, this rear light compartment or housing, to gain access to where the bulb is placed, and we're gonna replace that bulb. So this is good for, I have a 2013 Passat. It's the SE model, and I'm sure this applies to pretty much any of the newer Passats. So this method we're going to do applies to either side. So if you're doing the driver's side or you're going to do the passenger side, it's going to be the same for both. So what you want to do is you want to open up the trunk. My trunk's full of junk, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to go inside the trunk here, and you'll see this little cover. It's really simple. It's just like made of this soft cushy material they use in the trunk. So you just pop that off, and if you look inside, you're going to see this plastic screw here, and then you're going to have the wire assembly that's actually going into the bulb and providing the power. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove that wire assembly. So what you want to do is pull this. You want to pull this little red plastic clip. You want to pull it out this direction. So you can actually put your nail underneath this on the right side here, and you can pop it out like towards the front of the vehicle. So let me just do that really quick. Okay, so you guys can see I popped it. I took my nail under there and just kind of pulled it back. So you might want to be careful if your nails are kind of weak. And then what you want to do is you just want to take this here, or first of all just pull out these wires. Okay, pull out the connector there, and it can just dangle while you do this. And the next thing you want to do is, you see this little plastic tab. It's basically a screw. So you want to just twist it to the left or counterclockwise. Remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I'm going lefty here. So I'm going to pause this for a second while I remove that. Okay, so I'm back here. So this is pretty much loosened up all the way. I just haven't pulled it out. When you remove this, you want to be careful because the light assembly on the outside of the car is very loose. So I mean, as soon as you take that plastic screw out, this can potentially fall out. So just make sure you're holding it as you remove the screw so that it doesn't fall off and you bust your tail light cover. So what you want to do is just remove that screw. Just like that. Okay, you can set it somewhere safe, and then so that's what it should look like. The screw should be out, this wire connector should be out, and you're ready to go. So what you do is you come out here, and this literally will, as you can see, it just comes right off. I'm doing this with one hand. So there's your light compartment for your rear, and then what we're going to do is go into and open this housing so you can get into where the bulb is at, and then we reapply it just the same way we took it off. So that's what my car looks like now. Let me go ahead and show you what we're going to do now. That you have 4 tabs. There's one tab here, one tab here, another tab here, and then one tab right here. And these are easy to pull. Basically, you're just going to like pull away, and it should pop out that little plastic piece. That little plastic post will just kind of pop right out. And as you can see, as I'm doing these, pretty simple. It kind of, I'm doing this with one hand, but it kind of starts popping out on its own. And here's the last one. So I'm pause this for a second, get this little last one out. It's going to take 2 hands to do that. So I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I have removed all of these tabs. This is the last one I just took out, and it's going to be simple. Now you just pull up, just like that, and you're going to see a little rubber washer there, or not washer, but whatever you want to call it. Just make sure that if it comes off, it goes right back on the way it came off. There's a little groove in there. See a little groove? That little groove goes here. It gets aligned back with the that little lip that you see. Anyways, so there's my light. Light is no bueno, so I'm going to be removing that. Give me 1 second. I'll be back. I'm going to grab my replacement bulb. Alright, so I'm back. Here is my replacement bulb. I just went to like a AutoZone or whatever and picked it up. You don't have to be very technical with these blinker bulbs. You know, I would be more concerned about the bulb replacement, going high grade with like your headlights or your brake lights. You know, but a blinker bulb is really relatively cheap, so you don't have to get the super nice ones. I mean, these Sylvania ones will be just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my old bulb, and it's very simple. All you got to do is you got to push down a little bit. So you pretty much like push inward or down, and then you twist. It's like spring loaded. If you see, I can kind of push it down a little bit. So spring loaded, and then it turns into this little thing here. You'll see as you're doing this. But anyways, it'll come right out just like that. Now when you're putting the new light, that one's burned out pretty bad. When you're putting the new light in, you want to make sure you don't get your finger oil on the bulb. So when you're using something to replace this new bulb and you're placing it back into its you know, position here, you want to make sure you're not touching this with your fingers. I don't know if it's a myth or not, but they say sometimes the oil on your fingers will glaze part of the glass. So when the blinker heats up, I'm not sure if it heats up enough because it's only blinking on and off. It's not constantly on, but as it heats up, the oil that you leave on there, the resin of your oil will, I guess, heat up and eventually either crack the glass or something like that. But so just use like a little towel or whatnot to grab it and apply the bulb back into place. So we'll be back in a second. I'm going to open up my bulbs here. Okay guys, so I'm back. Here's my bulb. I'm using my little sunglass cleaner chamois to hold it so I'm not getting my fingers on the bulb. So anyways, you see these two little posts that are on the light itself. There's one there and there's one there. I'm talking about this little post right here and this other little post on this side. There's only two, so those little posts are going to go into that little indentation that you see. You see this little indentation here and here. So those two little posts are meant to go in there. So if you can see here, so it goes right in there, and then you're going to push down, not push too hard because you don't want to break the glass. And then as you're pushing, you turn clockwise until it'll turn maybe about 1/4 of an inch in rotation to the right, and then you'll see that that little post will happen is that little post will end up locking itself in here on both ends. There's a little indentation where, you know, the spring is pressing the post against there, so it actually locks the bulb in place. So now my bulb is in place. As you can see, it's ready to go. Just double check it, make sure it's not wiggling around and it's really locked in and secured. So now this is going to go back into the housing. So I'm going to move this over here. And one thing I want to make sure is that this grommet is placed right in line with that lip there and is laying in there perfectly, because what will happen is if you happen to get water, if it rains or something and water happens to make its way over here, you don't want any water seeping into the housing. So this little rubber thing is what keeps the water from running into this actual compartment. And as you can see, there's electrical components, so it can, you know, if it's not done right, you can actually cause a short and some potential electrical pop problems. So you just want to make sure that little grommet is on there properly before you fit this back on. So I think mine is ready to go. I'm going to grab my light here and going to place it right back in the way that I took it out, and it should go right in there just like that. I'm going to put this down just to, oh well, I actually got one to lock in place, so I can just push down here. That one locked. Get this one to lock. It looks like it's not locked just yet. Okay, so that one's in place. And then the last one, which is here. So you want to make sure these tabs that we removed originally are all back in place. That's going to make sure that, or that will, you know, let you know that you have this properly fastened and it's tightly, you know, compressing that grommet we talked about, so you don't get any water in there. And then you don't want this thing loose anyways. So we're ready to go. Very simple. If you want to test it, what you can do is just connect it to the light. I mean, there's not much room here, but you can connect it. I'll do that now and let you guys see. Okay, so now that I connected it, you can see my my running lights are actually functioning. So that's good news. I know I got electricity, so I'm going to go turn on my blinker, which is my driver's side blinker. Oh, I got to turn the key on second. Hold on. All right, so okay, so now it should be blinking, and there you go. So it's fixed. You want to check it before you put everything back and reassemble, because if you do that and you realize it's not working, you're gonna have to take it all apart again. So you always want to check your work before you reinstall anything. So it's gonna be pretty simple here. I'm gonna disconnect my light. So I go back to my car, turn it off. You don't want any possible shorts or get yourself electrocuted. And let me turn my lights off. If you have a car like mine, the Passat, it leaves the lights on for a few seconds. So I'm going to disconnect this once again, pull it out, and that tab kind of locked itself in place. So you're going to have to pull that red tab out again. Every time you take this out, you're going to have to pull that red tab out. Don't just try to assume that it doesn't lock itself and pull the wiring out. So you have to undo that red clip every time, because it automatically locks itself when you so I'm trying to figure out my light here. Okay, so the light's gonna go right back in just like that. Oops, it doesn't help if you put it in upside down, does it? So just gonna just make sure it goes in properly. So there's my light, it's back in place. Now this is not secure, so you want to hold it and make sure it doesn't go flying when you try to put this screw back on. So I'm going to put that screw back on, which is here, and it's going to go right back in the hole that it came from. And you're just going to tighten it, you know, until you feel it's adequately tightened. You don't want to over tighten and you don't want to under tighten. It is spring loaded, so that's kind of it's nice. Make sure that it's kind of like a safety net. It's applying pressure against the screw so that it doesn't, you know, it provides friction, and it stops the screw from turning while you're driving. So I'm going to pop this back in. Okay, you're going to hear the little red thing, the little red clip click. Okay, and it's back in. I'm going to tighten this a little bit more. I think that's plenty. It's got a lot of pressure against it, so my light's back in. I'm gonna check it one last time now that it's in the car. And if everything is good, we should be ready to rock and roll. Oh, so there you go. Okay, working, functioning, and that's how you change it. Last thing is here, you just want to make sure you put your little shindig back on. Just double check everything. Everything looks good. Everything's tight. And then this will be easy to put back on. You just want to make sure that you have everything lined up and good to go. Don't want to leave your light bulbs lying around, so put them away. And I'm ready to start driving. These are relatively cheap. I bought these two they sell them in pairs, I guess. I bought them for $6. And I had a little light on here that was telling me my light was out, but now that I fixed it, the light's gone, so it'll automatically go away. You don't have to worry about resetting that. It'll automatically fix itself. So thank you. Subscribe to my channel, and I hope to have helped you guys.